I've got a story to tell you. These last 8 years and a half really shifted my whole life. I went from having nothing to having a lot. Now you see me jet setting the world, hitting roads, going on stages, shaking amazing hands, sharing stages with beautiful people and emotions and travels. But it wasn't always like this. Actually, it was very different. I grew up in Torino, my home city, where I am actually filming this video right now. And every time I come back to the city, I get a little bit emotional because I really recognize the streets and the places I used to go and the benches I used to sit upon and, you know, my old schools and those old memories attached to places. Emotions come up, they rise, because last year in 2024, I spent in Italy only 34 days and in Torino probably 7 days. So yeah, this is my home city, Italy is my home country, but now the world is my home. I grew up in a good family, normal family. I went to normal schools, and when I was about to turn 18 years old, my dear mom, she basically pushed me, invited me, forced me to go to an entrepreneurial event. And so when she took me to that event, somehow my life shifted because a seed was planted. I was the classic average guy, and that's why today I hate average people, or better said, I don't hate them, actually I love them. I want to push them. Probably my hate translates into love, and that's why I put so much passion in what I do, because I know that there are so many people out there just like me. People who basically are average and don't have hope for the future. That was me, a smart guy, an intelligent person, going normally at school, having normal grades and marks, but really having no smile for life, no energy, nothing to fulfill, nothing to pursue. So at 18 years old, almost like a thunder, that personal development and business event cracked my whole life. Thanks to my mom that I still thank today, because she pushed me, she had to force me to go to that event. And that's why today I push people to the edge, because I need that life force. It's something that not everyone has. And this society today really makes you numb to opportunities. Even though opportunities are all around, people are so blinded. And so our responsibility as fathers and mothers to other human beings is to push them. And this happened to me. And from being a hopeless guy, from being someone who didn't even have the passion for living and waking up and doing something extraordinary and understanding the human potential, I became a guy that finally had something to work and to fight for. Now you think the beautiful part of the story comes, but actually it's not like this, because as soon as I started, I basically lost all of my friends. Why? I tried to explain them what I was doing, I tried to talk with them, but I immediately realized that people are basically deaf and they don't want to hear and they don't want to talk and they don't want to move. They're like trees, they're planted, and it's also hard, especially when you talk to young generations, because today's young generations are even worse than back then young generation. I mean, at least back then there was this ideology of, yeah, you need to work, you need to talk, you need to move. Today what I see, it's a bunch of people who are really emotionally unable, who cannot even talk, cannot even speak. They don't even want to call you on FaceTime, they just want to chat. So how it ended up is finding myself pretty lonely, building this business, pouring all my tears into it. All my tears from losing friends, all my tears from being abandoned, all my tears for feeling the injustice of me just wanting a better life and no one else understanding me and no one else supporting me. I wouldn't say joining me, but at least supporting me. And I faced the tough reality of the world, where people kind of brutally tear you down and just don't want to see you win. I don't know if this resonates with you, but I see this happening a lot. It's somehow so hard to come up to the surface and breathe some fresh air. It's like someone is pulling your leg down from the ankle while you're trying to overcome all the problems to get out of water and get some fresh air. This is how hard it felt to me to breathe, to make some money, to really feel I was on the right path. At 19 years old, with the first money I made, I immediately flew out of my house because there were, discussions and arguments on and on and on. And that's when also my parents had taken a different direction. And at 19 years old, I was sharing house with a friend of mine, and we stayed together for a period of time. And I had to find my way out to the surface. In my second year of business, I lost almost 8 kilograms. I mean, you can tell I'm not a heavy weight person, but definitely minus 8 kilograms, it was significant. And why? I was only working. I was so hungry for success that all my hunger went into business and not into food. I thought that food, and I partially think the same today, it's a waste of time. I mean, as an Italian, it's strange to say that because here people eat for pleasure, and I do understand that, and today I definitely do that. I love to share with family, I love to share with friends, with my loved ones. But back then, there was no space for food, no space for pleasure. My only goal, as bad as I wanted to breathe, was making some money, was getting out of my comfort zone and getting out of that zone where everyone was basically telling me, you see, I told you, I was right. Are you investing so much money? Where is the result? Where is the comeback that you always told us about? Where's the profits? I don't think I can ever transmit and transfer the real emotions, even because today I'm a little bit desensitized. I can plug in and get emotional again. I can remember, I can vividly see those scenes, but it's not the same. It's not the same when you really live it and you're with yourself and you're going through all that thing, And that's the beauty of success, that no one will ever understand how hard it is, what you've been going through. That's why you also get desensitized about hate, judgment, fear, doubts, and you laugh inside of yourself when someone tells you you've been lucky. I hope I resonate with some of you that are going through that, because one day it will all make sense. In my first 3 years and a half, imagine, I made $116,000 before taxes. So if you tax that thing, and if you understand that back then the business was nothing to compare with an online business, it was an in-person business, it was a face-to-face business, the fixed costs were unbelievably high. I really basically made no money in my first 3 years and a half. Everything went back into the business, went back into my crib, went back into my personal development, going to events, reading books like a maniac, because I knew one day all that personal development would be catching up with an income that I deserved. And that thing, after 3 years and a half, definitely happened, because in my first year, everything shifted and led me to where I am today. Funny to say, but my biggest goal was to hit the 10K mark, like to place it on a frame, post it on social media, put it in my room, and just thinking that with 10K a month, my whole dreams would have become a reality. And funny to say why, because it's hilarious that if I made $10,000 today, I would basically hang myself. I mean, today you see I jet set the world, I travel, I have amazing people next to me, I have a troop next to me, but it wasn't always like these. And it's funny, now I make multiple 7 figures a year, I have my business expanding internationally, and most of all, I am really fulfilled on a 360 level. And this is my biggest flex. It's not just about the money, it's about the life I've been able to build. And if I look backwards and I unwind the time, I'm like, everything had a perfect sense and a perfect meeting, especially the lowest point. So now I'm gonna give you 3 things for the high achievers watching this video, for those people who resonate with my voice, who are really feeling that there is something more out there and they're never gonna fucking stop until they get to the point. So stick to the end, because these 3 points, only for the top performers and the psychomaniacs out there, are gonna shift your life. That's the dark truth. It's insanity, the amount of work and stress you need to go through. It's insanity. So the first point you need to have clear is that there is nothing to be compared to. There is nothing you can resonate with outside of this psychomaniac space. between me and you, between me, you, and all those craziness out there. Other people who are achieving superstars level, you cannot compare what we can talk about. And that's why you need to get in circles where other people understand you, because it's insanity. It's nothing understandable for human being. The amount of work and stress and consistency and resilience and due diligence that you need to do to yourself, and it's just insanity. So if you're going through heavy phases of work, and your head cannot stop spinning, and you're always kind of thinking of business and no one understands, and everyone tells you should slow down, it's not gonna make sense, and you also have to live your life and to be happy and blah, 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 fuck, you know that. It's a good sign. The second situation you need to really get used to is that you need to be fixing things as well as adding things to your life. You need to be letting things go, but at the same time, putting things on the shelf. You need to be solving issues and problems and getting rid of new people, but at the same time, you need to be adding relationship, adding business, adding sales, adding people. So for those ones who are really into developing this life at the next level, we need to solve and add. We need to resolve and increase. We need to remove and add. There's not now I do this, and when I've done doing this, I do this. Top performers are always adding, and top performers are always solving. The third one, it's a heavy one because it's a personal thing. I firmly think that giving up on things, it's the wrong terminology for successful people, because successful people, they don't need to give up. It's automatic. They don't want. It's a choice, it's deeper, you know? Sacrifice could be intended in the wrong direction. Because if I tell you you should sacrifice relationship, you should sacrifice people, you feel like, I don't want to sacrifice my friends, my family, and my colleagues. It's not even you deciding to sacrifice, it's an obvious choice that you feel bad if you don't do. So, in order for you to scale your life, it's gonna take much more work than you think. Like there is not even, you cannot have the capacity to think of how much work you will need to be done. But definitely, you need to know that people can be a big weight or a big uplifter. If you are unable to feel when it's time to let go, and it's automatic because you're gonna feel it and you resist that feeling, you're gonna be screwing up your own success. So people, the human factor is gonna be the game. Who you keep close, who you let go, who you feel it's time, who does your intuition tell you it's time to get away from, because you need to build a squad. The stupidest idea I've been hearing on social media is that there is a one-man show. There is a self-made millionaire. You cannot compete in today's day and age with being alone, because outside you find teams. There are teams of people who gather together. So a big piece of advice is create your team. Make sure to be able to know who to keep close, build those relationships, invest in people. At the same time, you need to know who you need to fire, because some people you need to be careful about, because some people are gonna stab you in the back. So keep your enemies close, but your friends who are gonna stab you even closer, because some of them are gonna do it. Guys, behind every light there's darkness. There is not light without darkness. We all think of how beautiful it would be to live that life, jet setting and traveling and going in all those places, and wow, looks like that life is unbelievable. Yes, but behind this life and all those lives you see on social media, there's a dark truth. So the question is, what is the dark truth?